Greetings, everyone. Welcome to THL's Hearthcenter, bringing you the highlights of the latest week of THL. I'm one of your hosts, Lotus Knight, and I am joined by our insane crew tonight. As usual, we have, first of all, Tom Carter. Tom, how are you? Oh, wait, I was muted. So, hey, I just introduced the show. I will welcome Tom Carter. Tom, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing very well. Glad to be back after a while.
It is great having you. I mean, we took a little break, but it is very good to be back on air.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And we have Impermanence with us tonight here. How are you?
Hello, I'm chilling, just getting settled back into school and getting over a cold, but otherwise, I am doing just fine. Thank you for asking.
Hey, it's my pleasure. We have a weird show tonight. We're going to do our player of the week, and then we're going to go into some of the series and talk about the highlights. This is going to be a little bit of a less graphic show just because I just had my pupils dilated, so I cannot get all the images to appear on screen like I usually do. So we're just going to look at the general standings and talk about some of the highlight moments. I really shouldn't be reading much, so that is the way I can do it without reading much. But that said, shall we get into the show?
Yes, let's go.
So we're going to start with our player of the week. Impermanence, do you want to tell us our hero player of the week?
Yes, sir. So, kicking it off with Hero, we have the one and only Rebobson. So F2L and APM went head-to-head this week to fight out the final playoff spot in the Purple Conference. Despite F2L losing the week and him losing his match, Rebobson's 2 points and a loss was enough to earn his team a spot in the playoffs. So congrats and best of luck to you guys.
Congratulations, Rebob, on the player of the week. Now, Tom, do you want to tell us our second player of the week, our legacy player of the week?
I wonder who could it be. Our legacy player of the week is also Ray Bowson, giving his team a shot at playoffs leading into the final week. Reebok led his team to victory with a 3-0 sweep this week. All 5 players forget to lose next week. They may very well do it. Sorry. There we go. Congratulations, Reebok, Hero, and Legacy Player of the Week.
Wow.
And who is our pro player of the week, Tom?
Our Pro Player of the Week is also Reebok. The previous 2 pro champions faced off this week with only one able to progress to playoffs, and rallying his team, Reebok engineered a sweep of Brushituna, winning all 4 matches played, a masterclass from the veteran captain. So congratulations, Reebok, again.
Nice. Congratulations, Rebob, again. And let's ask Impermanence, who is our wild player of the week?
All right, so I just want to make sure I'm reading this one right. I think we've got, oh my goodness, it's Rebobson coming in for the sweep in Wild. The top 2 teams in Wild had little to play for apart from bragging rights leading into playoffs, and APM emerged victorious. Much credit to Rebobson, who's having a renaissance in Wild this season. So another win this week, seeing him 4-2 on the season. Way to go, Rebob.
Nice. So we really have quite the nice results. Player of the week. This is the final week for Player of the Week, as we usually only do Player of the Week while there's a series still in playoffs. Or sorry, while there's a series that isn't in playoffs. So right now we're going to do it next week because Legacy needs to be done next week. If you want to be in Player of the Week, what do you have to do, Tom?
You need to bother your captain, Let them know that you think your performance was outstanding, so they can wrap you up, send a message to the board, so we can have you into account for Player of the Week.
For
So
sure.
always communicate with your captain, and yeah, keep it up.
For sure. Anything else about Player of the Week before we move into the action part of our show? We begin talking about our series.
Uh, Usually we would say win your match, but apparently Reebok didn't have to do that in all of his matches this week. But generally win your match, and yeah, talk to your captain.
Yeah. So let's move to open our show, and we're going to open with Hero Series this time. Right? Sounds good to open with Hero. Agreed?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
let's go.
So we're going to look at straight into the top players and teams, and we're looking at the teams that made it. So my question for you, and I'll ask, we're really going. What I kind of want to bring everyone to talk about is what is the state of pro looking as playoffs begin. So more than talk about particular matches, what is going on in pro? And I'm going to ask Tom here, talk about the players, talk about the teams. What are you seeing in pro?
So what we're seeing in pro at this stage is that we have strong players within the same
Or
team
sorry, in
at
hero,
the
not
top.
pro. I don't know why I said pro.
Oh, sorry, hero. We have the players from the same team at the top of the rankings, which gives you that um, look ahead on who you could expect to win. For example, we have Osmanot and Raymiat from Rats of Beyond, taking the third and fourth spot um, in the rankings. Then we have the Realer and Placeholder from the Fayas, taking the eighth and ninth spot. And the Fayas is actually the first team uh, as the ranking goes. So that tells you that within Hero, you not only have strong players, but those players aren't an exception to the team. The teams on itself are really strong.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we really had Defias. Both Defias teams have had crazy runs. So, do we expect Defias to be the team to beat this season?
Yeah, I would. Oh, I miss not Bamity taking the second spot. So yeah, I believe that the Fayas has earned their place as the top team, having their players all feature in the power rankings. And I would believe that Rise of Beyond taking the second place, having the players also, as you said, in top spots within the rankings, would be the second team to have as the expected
Mm-hmm.
winner. Yeah, definitely.
And
Yeah, I agree.
now, in
Like honestly, the whole lineup being in there is pretty huge. Sorry, go ahead, Lotus.
oh no, go ahead, please.
Oh, that was about it. I pretty much just agreed with Tom there. The whole team's in the top 10, and they're 5-0. You know, seems pretty solid if you ask me heading into playoffs.
Now, if we're talking hero playoffs, who do you think wins? We have 6 teams here. Who makes it? And I'll ask him Permanence first. Who makes it?
Well, I kind of already alluded to it there. I think I'm going to put my money on Defias there. You know, the team looks deep. All 3 of them showing up in the top 10 of the 18 players in playoffs still. Bamity with a clean 5-0. Real Lure only dropping 1 game themselves. Placeholder with a respectable 3-3. So the team just looks extremely solid all around, and it's a very experienced team. It's not their first rodeo. So anytime, honestly, it's a pretty reasonable guess, in my opinion, to go with them.
Fair. Tom, who do you think wins hero?
Yeah, I agree with I go with Impermanence. If it's not the Fias, I would go with Brides uh, of Beyond, but they have such a clean record. Like you cannot go against the favorite.
Fair. I want to ask you, chat. Give us your thoughts. Who do you think wins Hero? Um, it's always a tough question. Hero is always a great series to accompany, especially with these smaller teams.
Yeah,
Any
it's been changed from what it used to be, and I think it's refreshing to see Hero as with less people in the teams.
for sure.
And we have Epicat who says, "Rest in peace, MPA." I believe that you meant APM, maybe.
I think.
MPA. I don't remember MPA. But yeah, the fire scaling it though. Yeah, yeah. There's a reason
Oh, they're
they
talking
are
about missing
up
perfect
there.
acronym.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Um,
Sorry.
it's so hard to memorize all the team names. I used to be able to know most of them by the end of the season. I don't anymore.
Yeah, for real. Like Defias is potentially going on three-peat, as brought up by Mike Hurst. So it's you kind of just want to see that happen too. Even like I think that'd be pretty neat.
Nice.
All season success aside, give us the three-peat Defias.
Um, any final comments about Hero before we move to our second series of the night?
No, I believe that we can move on. Even chat agrees with us with the fires being at the at the top.
So let's move on to Wild series. I'm going to change the order here, make it crazy today. And Wild also is moving to playoffs. So, Tom, what is going on in Wild?
I mean, wild, be wild. As player of the week, Rebop APM is at the top, and with APM you have Maxi being their top player, still undefeated 6-0. And as I was looking at the standings, you then have Staff of the Five Dubs, which is actually the second team per the rankings, and three of their five players are in the rankings as well. You have Philanthrophobe in the second spot, Naishuish Owl on the third, and Copa, their captain, on the fifth. But I still think that Maximum being such a powerhouse of player. Um, APM has it hands off on that seed, which is really hard to overcome to get the championship. So my money is on APM taking the championship this year.
Nice. Interesting thought. And let me ask you, Impermanence, do you have a spicy pick? Who wins Wild Series?
Oh yeah, you know what? I'm not going with APM this time. I agree with everything Tom said for the most part. You know, Max, he's okay at the game and whatnot, but you can't be sleeping on Wild THL fanatics or staff. I think I've said it in the chat, I believe in the Discord, but I believe our champions are going to come out of that series. Those are two hot teams right now, really deep lineups. Like even obviously with staff having three players in the top five, but Wild THL fanatics, even without having any players in the top five rankings, they have a really sick lineup. I would not write them off. I genuinely do think. I think like if I'm gonna make like a safer bet, I would probably say staff because they're on such a streak right now. But
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to you got to line up on WTF with like Devalian and Schmoopy and I believe Neon Hair on that team as well. Like it's a solid lineup. I genuinely do think that one of those teams are going to take it.
Yeah, it's Schmoopy, the Valiant, Neon, Acelia, and Super Based.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are my second favorite team. I would say the underdogs, but for me the numbers don't lie. Like I look at the APM and I know how Maxi plays, and he's scary, man. Like you don't want to face Maxi if you can.
No, I agree with you. I've played him about 3 times in THL, and I'm always just hating myself at that point of the week. But WTF's got that hunger. And you can't put a number on the hunger, baby. I think they're coming in hungry.
Yeah, definitely.
Any
And
final?
sadly, yeah, username was really high on the power rankings, and well, he doesn't disappear. He has disappeared, and he said, "Rest in peace, my power ranking spot. Playoffs are a cruel mistress." Yes, they are.
So here in the power rankings, we're just featuring players that made and teams that made top 10, or sorry, that made playoffs. So if you did make it, you will be taken into account for awards and everything like that, but you just don't appear tonight.
Ooh, that's something to look forward to. Potential rookie of the year, perhaps.
Yeah. All awards are still on the table. And awards, just so people know, things like All Star Team, we usually don't take playoffs into account because we don't want to punish players that didn't make it if they played super well but their team didn't make it there. So
Yeah,
maybe you're still there.
it's more like a seasonal preview kind of thing. So
Yes.
yes, of course, that winning the championship is winning the championship, but your progress throughout the season is also what, well, signifies THL. So if you had an awesome season, even if you didn't make it to playoffs, or even if you made it to playoffs, but perhaps you got second or third spot, uh, you are still acknowledged as the player that went through the whole season, and yeah, there is a reason you were there in the power rankings to begin with, because you deserve it, even if you no longer show up, because, well, this is only playoffs.
Yes. Also, it's fun to hide that result for award shows. So you can find that out on our award show that Saku will graciously put out. And it will be a great moment for you to see what's going on.
Yes, and mem, it is not rigged. Please stop.
That is going to
Chat.
happen. So usually the award show is right before expansion comes out. So it's after the end of playoffs. Expected to be somewhere around late February, early March. It's before the next season starts. We after every series is over, we will have the award show. And you'll be able to check it out. Some of your favorite casters, hosts, THL personalities will be there, and we'll have a great time talking everyone. So, one thing I wanted to ask you about Wild, since we have two people who are really good in Wild here, I want to ask you two, what decks should we expect to see in Wild playoffs? So this week, don't consider new stuff because we don't know new stuff yet.
Yeah. I was just going to be saying that because I don't know the new stuff. I like so I think that I said this before, and sorry that I'm like derailing a little bit, but I usually don't look at the new stuff until I'm the one purchasing, in this case, the mini set or the expansion or whatever. So when I open the cards, I still feel like refreshed, like, oh, this is new. What thing I can do in this? So if you make me talk about the new things, like, I have little to none idea. Like, I watched like 2 cards and I was like, cool, that is a StarCraft reference game that I didn't play. Awesome. Uh, so
I'm
yeah,
kind of in the same boat. I like to read the new cards though, but I don't really like do any theory crafting until the start. But I will say there is apparently a pretty neat hunter deck in the works that is probably going to
no,
get
no,
brought.
no,
I'm not saying what it is. I'm not saying
no
that's it. That's
spoilers.
all you're getting.
And again, I don't do that.
That's all you're
But
getting from me.
what we are looking for to bring here, there are 2 decks that I think are going to be a must, which are Hostess Mage, Infinite
Yep.
Ice Block, I Levi, Frost Nova, Ramath Go Brr, kind of thing. And
Yep.
the other one is Aggro Priest. I believe that either 30 or 40, because Attendant is a really busted car.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
patches.
Priest is like one of the most reliable decks in the format. I think it's still. There was a moment in the past week or so where like Seed Block kind of no Shadow Priest is like retaken its top of the win rate on ladder, it seems. Oh wait, no, actually we have Drakagroak at the top, but that's probably not going to get brought too much. I think you're correct for sure with the Shadow Priest and the Mage. I think a couple other popular decks that we'll see will be like some combo Druid variants, potentially some Librams, and yeah,
Yeah, but
probably.
the thing is that um, I believe that Libram is not really optimized as of right now. Like
No.
they have still a couple flex spots. Some people don't know if you still do pure, impure, 40, 30. But
Yeah.
if you want a net deck aggro priest, you already have like a corp made like a 30 and a 40, or I believe that a couple 40. So you have like solid like deck lists that
They're
do have some
refined.
stats, yeah, behind it. Same with Hostess Mage. The other decks are just a little bit more all around the place. I do believe, however, that we are going to see a couple. You're right in that impermanence that we're going to see a couple either Maligos Druid with the Dongar, and we are also probably going to see some Barnes Druid, but with Giselle. But they play completely different, and I believe it's going to be maybe like 2 or 3 people. But I do expect like a lot of players to bring priest, aggro priest in some way, shape, or form, and same with hostage.
Yeah, like you know how we've been doing like the legacy and like the pro and the hero coverage, and it's kind of been like, oh, 9 out of the 10 decks are shaman, blah blah blah. I feel like it's going to be a similar ballpark with Shadow Priest, especially as we're heading into playoffs for that. It's like the best deck. It's extremely difficult to counter. Same thing with Mage, and you nailed it there. They are refined, but it's just like
Yeah, Mage, especially now for playoffs, because Mage. But the thing that Mage has is that the deck is busted. I believe that at some point it had like 59% win rate in top legend. But the thing is, it has such a really hard learning curve. But the thing is that we are talking about playoffs. We are talking about top players in their field. Basically, here you have Maxi, you have OTC, you have players that know what they are doing when they bring Mage.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And these are the players that are generally the ones refining it too. Like I know Maxi's put in a ton of work with the hostage mage list, for example. And yeah, that is a good discrepancy because when I do think of Libram Paladin, it's like sure it's like it's around on ladder, but it does kind of feel a bit like Pirate Demon Hunter in the sense where Pirate Demon Hunter had like 6 to 8 slots that like weren't fully solved, and it sounds that way to like a lesser degree with Libram Pally. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what the how the rest of the lineups will shape up. I'm sure Maxi might put out a prediction if he's nice, but maybe not actually since we're going into playoffs.
Who knows?
Thanks. Well, I will keep us moving. So if there are no final thoughts about Wild, I'll move us to Pro.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at Pro as Pro heads into its final week. Or sorry, Pro heads into playoffs. So the regular series is over. And now we have 6 teams fighting for playoffs. Who are these teams? What is going on? And I'll throw this one to Impermanence.
Yeah, sure. So kicking it off from the top to the bottom here, we have Unidentified Pet Tracking, who led off the Pink Conference with a sick record of 6-1. If I remember correctly, was this not the free agency team? I believe Marty said somewhere that a free agent team got first, not overall, or maybe no. I don't think they got first overall, but they got first in their division. No.
That I do not remember. But if you look at the other ones, I do believe that Cheesemongers, Washed Up, F2L, Ada's Leader, and ET Yoxeron are not free agents. That I
No.
know.
No.
I'm not sure about unidentified peg tracking, but if you heard that, then probably you're correct. Yeah.
That makes sense then, because I know, like, I'm on Washed Up and we're not a free agent team, so that's a really interesting little tidbit right there, especially for newcomers coming to the league or joining a division, right? So it's just like some people might think, oh, I'm on a free agent team, like, oh, well, like, how are we going to do? Well, this is how well you could do. You could potentially top your division and head into playoffs with a dominating record. So pet tracking is going crazy. Cheesemongers United, as always, had a great season, 5-1-1, taking second in the power rankings, and Washed Up crept up to third with a 5-2 record, with Cheesemongers and Washed Up leading the Black Division. And then finishing off the pro standings, we have F2L with their 5-2 record, Ada's Litter and ET Yoxeron both coming in with 4-3. And looking over at the power rankings. So speaking of the pet tracking, they had a couple players in the top here with Caleb EM and Eswaf at 4th and 5th, 4-1 and 5-2 records respectively. Solid turnout for them. Washed Up was carried by their powerhouse player. You know who he is. I'm talking about Devalian, 5-2. Also Max Ivan with his perfect 7-0 season, topping off the rankings. So great job, Maxi. Thank you for the carry. Topping out the top three, we have Pyro Llama with a 6-1 record to the season, second highest. The only other one loss full season. So awesome season there. And then we got our player of the week, Rebob, rounding out the top three of the pro rankings at 5-2. So overall, actually, another thing I'm noticing too is the entirety of the top three in the power rankings was Black Division. That's pretty interesting. It was a very competitive division for sure. But yeah, no, it's a very strong list we've got here. And yeah, not too much else to say about that.
And anything, Tom, you want to add about Pro Series? Any final thoughts before we talk about who we think wins?
Oh no, I was going to throw that question to Impermanence.
Oh, go ahead.
That, yeah, you said Maxi and Devalion trying to be unbiased. Who do you think is going to take the pro championship?
Well, if you'd asked me at the beginning of the season, I would have told you it would definitely be someone coming out of the Black Division. I think that we knew from the start it was a very stacked division, really competitive. Pet tracking has been a major thorn in everybody's behind, as you can see with that record. They're definitely in contention. I'd love to say Washed Up. We've been playing some really great Hearthstone lately. I believe we just took 2 straight 20-point weeks, but another team that really gave us issues personally were Cheesemongers. So this whole bracket of the top teams here is just so tight. It's just like this could be anybody's game, because then you also think you have F2L. I think if I was to make, like, if I'm not going to consider Washed Up, if I was going to make a safe selection, I would go with Cheesemongers. They are an established team. They're experienced. They've got some amazing players. You never face up with them and just think like, oh, we're going to crank these guys. No, it's going to be a tough one. But I mean, if I'm going to make a wild one, I'm going to go with the pet tracking. If the also Mizzle, can we get a mute on Mizzle? I'm just kidding. But I would love to see the free agent team pet tracking take it all in playoffs. That would be pretty cool to me. I'd say it's between those two.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna take your unbiased answer and give my very biased one. which I believe that you guys may have it. Again, Maxi is such a powerhouse player uh, that I believe that having having one seed that you don't need to quote unquote worry about is really um, really important. Not only for again achieving the championship and whatnot, but and you can tell me if this is true or not. I played with Maxi before, but having someone who knows what they are doing gives you such peace of mind because you can be like, hey, I'm not sure what I'm going to bring. Can you help me out with the lineup? And you don't really question someone when they give you a deck and they have a score of 7-0. Like, they know what they are doing, right?
Yeah, no, that's a pretty accurate way to put it. Like when you ask him what he thinks, or I've even asked him before, like how do you sit here and just pull up a W every single week? He's got some good info and some. He helps out with the team quite a bit, so it's comforting when he goes to work and does his thing, and it's nice having like a player that knowledgeable on your side as well to help you out. So yeah, it's exactly as you had it. Yeah, pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks. Um,
And
any
big shout out to DeValian as well, who's just, I mean, he's our second seed, 5-2, and he's a wild man. I'm gonna just gonna put that out there. This man is playing some serious Hearthstone right now, and he's going into playoffs in two different divisions. So the team all around is just extremely deep. I don't know. Time for my biased opinion, but I think we have the tools. Uh,
nice.
But yeah, like I said, it's a super tight division. Like it could go anyway.
For sure. Yeah, this is this is a tough year. So we're gonna have to see. We will talk next week about who won, who's going through, and what is happening. But should we take a look at Legacy? Or any final things anyone wants to talk about, bro, before we move to Legacy?
No, let's go into Legacy. I have, yeah.
All right, so Legacy is different than all other series because Legacy is still going on. Impermanence, what is happening in Legacy? It's not over yet.
No, they still got another week, and we could definitely see a bit of a shift if we've seen anything over the past few weeks. You know, with the final here, and kind of like what we've seen in earlier in Hero, we're seeing some Defiance domination coming in at the top of the power rankings, 6-1 record. Second place being APM, sorry about that. Anomaly perplexed me. The question mark throws me off every time. And finally, we have Dad Legend kind of simmering down a little bit, dropping from first to third in the power rankings, followed by Do a Barrel Roll at 4-2-1. Stubbs, 7 Mile Spanking Machine continuing to do work. Less Justin Hermanos, 4-1-1. And a new entry into the top 10 with Strictly Business with a respectable 3-3-1 record. ET Cthulhu, rounding at the 9th spot, and the Ceaseless Expanse ate our team name with the 10th spot there. I believe ET Cthulhu is fighting for a playoff spot with some of the teams in that range, because I know like the top 3 I'm pretty sure have like secured their playoff spot, but there's still some jumps to be made near the bottom here. So that's pretty interesting to look at there. Now swapping over to the power rankings, we've got a lot of Defiance players in here, just at a glance, with Grumpy Ninja and Pot Washer taking 2 and 3. Grumpy Ninja being one of 2 undefeated players this season, which is really crazy to see. Like, this is between all of the divisions so far. What is this, like 4 undefeated records? We have Maxi going undefeated in 2 divisions, and then we got LT Cavalry and Grumpy Ninja with a couple more undefeated records. Pot Washer here coming in at 6-1. And oops, sorry, my cat is trying to talk on the mic too. But yeah, representing their team alone here, we've got Disagreement from W Esports with a sweet 6-1 record as well. A couple of those actually. Caleb EM, Oxob 3333, and Osmonaut all with 6-1 records heading into the final week of Legacy. Marty V with the 8th spot at 5-2. Harmless Dog with the same record, hitting the power ranking spot for the first time, or sorry, new to the power rankings for now. And then with the 10th spot, we got Pokemon 661. Yeah, a couple new faces on here. Not new to the league, but new to the rankings. Caleb and Osmonaut as well, shooting up on the rankings for this week. But yeah, so a lot can still happen here. It's pretty tight still. Not all the playoff spots are decided. So we should definitely have some action to see in Legacy this week.
Very surprising to have Caleb on the fifth spot as new, given that they have a record of 6-1. So, they probably beat someone really high.
Yeah, it makes me think it might have been one of the other 6-1s, like maybe Pop Washer, or who did they play? I'm not sure who they played last week, but yeah, that is a funny point, just going straight from unranked to 5th.
Yeah, they were probably just right there at the 11 spot. So yeah, just as before, who do you think is going to take the legacy? Because in this case, I am the biased one now.
Let's not focus as much on who takes, because this isn't even playoffs yet. A more interesting question is who makes it to playoffs.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah. So Tom, who do you think makes it? What are the 8 teams?
I say that I'm biased. I think that.
So it's 2 per conference, right?
Role. Yeah, I think it's going to be Dua Barroll and APM for Gold. I believe it's Gold Conference.
Yeah.
Right? I believe it's then going to be the Fias and Dot Stops for the Red. And I don't really have much on the other 2 conferences. I believe that they are still close.
Well, Silver is basically decided. Silver has.
Let's see here. Oh yeah, there's a pretty huge gap between 2nd and 3rd and Silver. I just pulled it up.
Los Justins Hermanos and 7 Mile Spanking Machine are basically guaranteed.
Actually, I think they are guaranteed, because even if Ceaseless Expanse gets 20 points, they're still too short of Justin Hermanos in 2nd.
Well, they can get 3 extra for winning the week.
Yeah, the
right.
So Justin Hermanos would need to literally lose every single point, which has never happened.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, it is technically almost decided there. You're right.
I mean, it's never happened for Justin Hermanos. I believe that we had so far 2 20-0 weeks in the history of THL.
Yeah, but it usually means something very wrong happened.
Yeah. The only reason that I know that is because somehow we pulled that off in Wild, I believe 3 years ago, and you cannot blame me for still riding that high. Like the full team doing a full sweep like that, that's just chef kiss.
You love to see it.
Oh, I didn't realize that 7 Mile Spanking Machine and Los Justin Hermanos were that far ahead. And for the blue, of course, that legend. As for the other ones, I don't really have, I can look at the numbers, but I don't really have someone that I'm this team, So that those would be my picks. And again, my bias is with Dua Barroll, which is the prior champion for Legacy. So they will make playoffs. They are just there on the 4th spot, playing it like casually, and then you have LT Calgary at the top with this 7-0. Like, yeah.
Wait, are you playing in Legacy?
The who?
Are you playing in Legacy, Tom?
Oh no, but that team is the prior season champion.
Right.
Who before that was my team, and then I gave the captaincy to Kira. But they still use the server that I made back when. So sometimes I look around and like, yeah, interesting. So this is the deck that is really good right now. Yes, you know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair. Any final thoughts? Or sorry, let me throw to Impermanence. What teams make it in Legacy? Any surprises you expect?
Yeah, if I'm gonna make a surprise pick, I'm gonna give it to ET's Cthulhu. They are currently 4th in the gold division, but they can totally jump in. But it is going to be pretty difficult considering they are competing with APM and do a barrel roll. There is quite a bit less of a gap in the red division, for example. Looking over here, we have what is that, a 13-point difference between second and third with the Stubbs and the THL Degenerates. Silver is, I think Silver is going to just go in as is. But yeah, there's even Blues a bit closer too. I think Dad Legends kind of like done the job to like make it in. Like they went how many weeks without like losing? I think it was 4 straight or 3 straight without losing. They're still at the top of the blue, so I'm gonna go with Dad Legend, and it's so tight for second there. Like literally, it's still 3 teams fighting for second. Like, and APM's 104, 8-handed Death Chop's 97, the Wisp are 94. Like that's gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna give it to 8-handed Death Chop and Dad Legend though. Or hold on, let's see. Yeah, I'll go with those two for the blue conference. Silver is going to go in as is, I'm thinking. It's going to be really tough for Expanse to sneak in there. No offense, guys. Yeah, Stubbs and Defias are pretty solid bets for Fred. And yeah, Gold's fairly tight too, but my money bet is going to be on ET Cthulhu. Definitely no bias there, surely.
Fair. Any last minute thing y'all want to share about Legacy before we move to our title screen for our checkout question?
No, let's go ahead and wrap it.
All right. So we have our final question of the night. Before we end, one thing I do want to say to everyone, this was a more experimental format for the show. We usually do way more of talking about the matches, but I can't really read right now. So because of that, I had my pupils dilated because I went for an eye exam today. And so because I can't read, it's really hard to prepare the matches for stream. So we did it different, and I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, let us know.
Yeah.
If you didn't, let us know.
Yeah, if you have any feedback, you can write right now on chat or on the THL Discord. We would like to know.
Yeah.
Because there are so many things to talk about, and although we have a format, it is fun to sometimes switch it up a little bit because things happens. I don't think you are a fan of having your pupils dilated, but sometimes again things happen.
It's true.
Not every day, but sometimes. And also, in regards to the format and whatnot, we also took a break, so we are coming back after almost, I believe, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or more. So talking about matches, after taking such a break, I personally didn't feel it was that interesting because we are more, at least again myself, I'm more engaged on, hey, what's going on after I haven't been around for this amount of time. Like if I go straight into the matches, I feel like I'm not looking at the big picture, which is what we did today, looking at who's making it to playoffs, who's taking the championship, and Reebok
Yeah,
taking the sweat for Player of the Week.
yeah.
Who would have seen that coming?
Do keep us updated on what you like. As I go for the final question, so I'll keep it with a chill, short question this time, and it is: are you excited for StarCraft? And I'm going to start with Impermanence. Impermanence, are you excited for StarCraft?
Well, I have a similar perspective to Tom as far as like my interest in the set. Like I've never played StarCraft in my life. That being said, I have read the new cards as they've come out, and I'm really stepping on eggshells with this one. I can't dive too deep into this one with him here, but I will say this set seems, you can really tell that Team Five, they worked hard to like give us a flavorful set. Like the cards are interesting. Um, they seem to like fit a like I like the faction theme kind of. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna like it in a gameplay sense, but flavor-wise, everything seems really cool. There's some pretty neat text on the cards. I'm just like, man, I really want to talk about that one deck. I think there's a couple like, so far there's at least like one cool deck that's going to be coming up in Wild, but they use the missile turret art for missile pods, unplayable. Yeah, for real. But yeah, it seems like a cool expansion. From a Wild perspective, it's probably not going to be like as impactful because it does seem pretty slow. Lot of, oh wait, I'm not going to say that next part. I don't want to spoil that. But yeah, overall, I think it's a flavorful set for sure. I think it's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Tom, anything you want to say
Yeah,
about the set? Are you excited for
mm,
StarCraft?
yeah. As Impermanence said, flavor-wise, I am a big fan of spaceships
Yeah.
and whatnot. Not starships, spaceships. Um, and I haven't played StarCraft, but I did play a lot of Mass Effect, and I know you're going to say like that doesn't have to do anything with it, but I love the theme of again space wars kind of thing, um, and I did look at the art, and I did uh, look at the theme, even if I didn't read the cards, and I feel like it's going to suit me like a glove. I may be looking into crafting something golden just for the sake of you know having the space guy with the big helmet kind of vibe.
Oh,
But anyway,
Jimmy? I think it was
yeah, I
Jimmy.
did look. I did look at Jimmy. I think he looks cool.
One thing I will say is that, like, okay, so like when the whole Starship thing came out and it was like really underpowered and nobody was playing it, I really hope that we don't have that issue because I feel like this set, if the format allows it, if it's slow enough in standard, for example, to enable all this, I think it could be really fun. Like, the design is really interesting for these cards, so yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say, keeping myself again on the flavor side, is that the theme is awesome, but it does feel a little bit like it doesn't really have a home within Hearthstone because um, we had series expansions, right? But they were Warcraft theme, and then we have Sealy expansions, but they were then based on prior cards that set the vibe, right? Or you had a tribe, sorry, that kept the expansion within a certain flavor and whatnot. But this one feels like it's stretching it a little bit. So I do believe that it looks good and it looks fun. I don't know, again, competitive wise, but it does feel like it doesn't really have a home per se because it's the first thing that we have regarding space that is taking itself really seriously. The expansion uh, from the Dark Beyond wasn't taking itself as serious as the mini set is, and it doesn't really fit with the Warcraft theme kind of thing, right? Because you
That
are
is a good
more
point.
looking into elementals or beasts or Ungoro dinosaurs or undead because of the leech swamp. You're looking more at this is we are more used to fantasy than sci-fi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Honestly, I wasn't able to quite put my finger on it because it did seem distinctly different. Not it's just because new set, but like it does seem like they're StarCraft cards and not Hearthstone cards. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
But this could set up and I'm gonna close with this. My idea. If this is received well, this could set up a precedence for us to have more um, other franchises looking into Hearthstone, kind of like
that's
what
true.
Magic does. I don't think that we're going to have Wolverine in Hearthstone. Who knows? But it does set up a precedence. So let's, even if you don't like it, I would hope that most people open their arms and receive this mini set well, so that in the future they can be like, hey, they really liked this or engage with this, so they have more of a wiggle room to bring in again new franchises, new ideas, new combinations of things. Again, I don't think that we're going to be see, I don't know, Naruto in Hearthstone, but who knows?
please, that'd be pretty sick.
Well, we'll have to see. I think this is a good point for us to close our show. So I want to thank Tom Carter and Impermanence to being here with me tonight. I had a great time with you too. So thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for sticking it out there. Glad we could make the show happen despite your appointment there.
Yeah. With that said, I want to wish all our viewers a very special night. And we will be here next week where we will cover everything that has been going on with playoffs, the end of the season in Legacy. There's going to be action, there's going to be drama. Is there going to be drama? I hope so. It's
Oh,
always.
there's gonna be
I,
some drama.
I am not going to instigate, but you know,
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah.
Give us something to talk about, folks. Let's go.
And
So
We're
yeah,
asking
everyone
for
have
it.
a wonderful night.
have a great night, everyone. We'll see you later.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.